Homo habilis. One of the earliest known members of the human lineage, Homo habilis lived in eastern and southern Africa over 2 million years ago. Its name means handyman, a reference to the simple stone tools often found alongside its fossils. These tools were not complex, but they marked a clear shift toward intentional shaping of the environment. Its brain was larger than that of earlier ancestors, allowing for slightly more advanced thinking, though its body still had many ape-like traits, especially in the arms and hands. It likely spent time both on the ground and in trees. What makes Homo habilis important is not just what it was, but what it started. It represents a moment when survival began to rely less on pure instinct and more on learned behavior, setting the foundation for everything that followed. Homo erectus. Homo erectus was one of the most successful and long-lasting human species, surviving for over 1 million years and spreading far beyond Africa into Asia and parts of Europe. Its body looked much more like that of modern humans, with longer legs and a more upright posture suited for walking long distances. This allowed it to explore and adapt to a wide range of environments. Its brain was significantly larger than that of Homo habilis, supporting more complex behavior. There is strong evidence that Homo erectus used fire, which would have changed daily life in major ways, from cooking food to providing warmth and protection. Over time, its tools became more refined and consistent. It matters because it shows a major leap in both physical endurance and cultural development, marking the beginning of humans as global travelers. Homo ergaster. Homo ergaster lived in Africa around 1.9 to 1.4 million years ago and is often considered a close relative or early form of Homo erectus. It shared many of the same physical traits, including a more human-like body shape and improved mobility. One of its defining features was the use of Eulian tools, which were more carefully shaped and symmetrical than earlier stone tools. This suggests a higher level of planning and skill. Homo ergaster likely lived in social groups, where cooperation played an important role in survival, especially when hunting or gathering food. Its lifestyle hints at the beginnings of more structured communities. It matters because it represents a clear step toward the physical and behavioral patterns that would later define modern humans. Homo antecessor. Homo antecessor is one of the earliest known human species to live in Europe, dating back roughly 1.2 million to 800,000 years ago. Fossils found in Spain show a mix of primitive and more modern features, especially in the face. This combination has made its exact place in the human family tree difficult to define. It used stone tools and was capable of surviving in challenging environments, far from the warmer climates of Africa. Evidence from some sites suggests that it may have practiced cannibalism, possibly during times of scarcity or as part of social behavior. Homo antecessor matters because it represents one of the first waves of human expansion into Europe, showing how early humans adapted to unfamiliar and often harsh conditions. Homo heidelbergensis. Living between about 700,000 and 200,000 years ago, Homo heidelbergensis occupied parts of Africa and Europe and is often seen as a key ancestor of both Neanderthals and modern humans. It had a large brain and a strong, muscular build, well suited to its environment. This species used more advanced tools than its predecessors and may have built simple shelters, suggesting a growing ability to shape surroundings for comfort and protection. There is also evidence that it hunted large animals in coordinated groups, which would have required communication and planning. Homo heidelbergensis matters because it sits at an important turning point in human evolution, where different lineages began to branch out, eventually leading to distinct human species. Homo neanderthalensis. Neanderthals lived across Europe and parts of Western Asia until about 40,000 years ago. They were physically robust, with short, stocky bodies that helped conserve heat in cold climates. Their brains were large, comparable to, or even slightly larger than those of modern humans. They created complex tools, controlled fire, and adapted their lifestyles to challenging environments. Evidence suggests they buried their dead and may have used symbolic objects, indicating a deeper level of thought and culture. They were not isolated from other human species as they interbred with early Homo sapiens, leaving traces of their DNA in many people today. Neanderthals matter because they show that intelligence, emotion, and social behavior were shared across different human groups, not just our own. Denisovans. Denisovans are one of the most mysterious human species, known mostly from genetic evidence and a few fossil fragments discovered in Siberia and parts of Asia. Despite the limited physical remains, their DNA tells a detailed story. They lived alongside Neanderthals and modern humans and interbred with both. Today, traces of Denisovan DNA can be found in certain populations, especially in Oceania and Southeast Asia. This suggests they were once widespread and adapted to a variety of environments. Very little is known about their appearance or daily life, but their genetic legacy reveals their importance. Denisovans matter because they showed that human evolution was not a simple straight line, but a network of overlapping populations that interacted in complex ways. Homo floresiensis. Homo floresiensis lived on the Indonesian island of Flores until about 50,000 years ago and is often referred to as the Hobbit, due to its small size. Adults stood around 1 meter tall and had very small brains, yet they used tools that suggest a surprising level of capability. Their unique features are likely the result of island dwarfism, a process where limited resources lead to smaller body sizes over time. Despite their size, they were able to survive in a challenging environment alongside other animals. Homo floresiensis matters because it challenges the idea that intelligence and adaptability are directly tied to brain size, showing that evolution can take unexpected paths. Homo luzonensis. Homo luzonensis was discovered in the Philippines and lived around 50,000 to 70,000 years ago. Fossils reveal a mix of ancient and more modern traits, including curved finger and toe bones, that suggest strong climbing abilities. Like Homo floresiensis, it likely evolved in isolation on an island, which led to its distinct features. Very little is known about its behavior, but its existence adds to the growing picture of human diversity in Southeast Asia. Homo luzonensis matters because it highlights how different environments shaped different human species in unique ways, especially when populations were separated for long periods. Homo naledi. Homo naledi was discovered in South Africa and presents a surprising combination of traits. It had a small brain similar in size to much earlier human species, but its hands, feet, and overall body structure were closer to modern humans. Fossils suggest it lived as recently as 250,000 years ago, overlapping with more advanced human species. One of the most intriguing aspects is the possibility that it deliberately placed its dead in deep cave chambers, which could indicate some form of ritual or symbolic behavior. Homo naledi matters because it challenges the assumption that complex behavior only appears in species with large brains, suggesting that intelligence may have developed in different ways. Homo rhodesiensis. Homo rhodesiensis lived in Africa around 300,000 years ago and is sometimes considered a part of Homo heidelbergensis, though its classification remains debated. It had a large brain and strong facial features with a mix of older and more modern characteristics. Its fossils provide important clues about the populations that may have given rise to Homo sapiens. The environment it lived in would have required adaptability, from changing climates to varying food sources. Homo rhodesiensis matters because it may represent a transitional form, helping to bridge the gap between earlier human species and our own. Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens are not an extinct species, but they lived alongside many of the human species that are now gone. Emerging in Africa around 300,000 years ago, They shared the world with groups like Neanderthals and Denisovans for thousands of years. During this time, there was not just competition, but also interaction and interbreeding, leaving traces of those species in modern human DNA. Homo sapiens developed advanced language, complex social structures, and a strong ability to adapt to changing environments. Over time, they spread across the globe, gradually becoming the only remaining human species. They matter because their survival was not isolated, but shaped by a long period of coexistence with other humans, making them part of a much larger and interconnected story.